Hello, welcome to my channel, The Healing Heart. I'm Calgan, you're you, and let's go through this together. It's been quite a while, probably a year and a half, since I've put up a video on this channel, and that could be denoted, I guess, by the length of my hair compared to last time. But yeah, so much has happened in that last year and a half, so much has changed. The world's really flipped on its head now, so hopefully you're out there and you're doing okay. Personally, I've continued to push on. I've come a long way. Yes, I still have thoughts of my ex-wife and the kids, but that soul-crushing pain has long since subsided. And so if you're still in that place where you're still feeling that pain and that physical pain, just hold on, keep pushing on, and eventually that pain will subside. I actually read a good quote yesterday and it said, it will hurt, it'll hurt, it'll hurt until one day it doesn't. And that's pretty much true. That's pretty much how it goes. So even if you continue to have thoughts, and possibly you'll always think about the exes in your life, the pain will go away, and you're able to push on and continue to build a good life for yourself. So that leads me into today's video. I got an email from somebody that I've been communicating with for a while, and she's asked me a couple of questions which I thought I would do a video response to, because other people that might come across this video might find themselves in a similar situation, and perhaps this could help you as well if you relate to this in any way. I won't read the whole email, so I'll just pull out the points that I wanted to touch on for this video. So it says, "Hi Calgan, thanks so much for your help. My pleasure. Uh, da da da. It feels really strange, but when there are challenges, for example, with work or social life and filling my time, I beat myself up emotionally with the thoughts of what I have missed out on with him and how much better life would have been with him than it is now." So the first thought I have on that is it's normal for you to experience that, because I find that when we are having challenges in our life, or when things aren't going that well, we seem to revert our thoughts back to a time when things were going well and that we were happy and it seemed a lot simpler. However, it's good to remind yourself that the relationship didn't work out for various reasons, including that it wasn't all good and it wasn't all great all the time. And but we tend to look back at our past relationships, especially the most recent one, with rose-colored glasses. I'm guilty of that myself. I miss certain things about my ex-wife, but I have to remind myself that there were definitely times that it was really, really difficult. And also, the other person obviously wasn't feeling the same way, and that's pretty much why the relationship ended. And when you say what you've missed out on with him and how much better life would have been with him than it is now, well, you don't really know that. It actually could be a lot worse if you were still together with him. Um, so it's hard to know if it would be better or worse. But that's also an indication that you're not 100% happy with where your life is now anyway. And so, one good thing to try and do is try and get yourself into a position where you do start to feel better about your life at the moment. And we'll touch on that a bit later in the video. It goes on to say, "I think of him living happily down the road from me, where I live alone and feel lonely." Okay, so it's really unfortunate if you still live in close proximity with your ex-partner. Those people that know me know that I left my country and I moved to an entirely different country, which helped and does help. But I also know that the majority of people are not in a position to be able to do that. I will also say that it was a really big move. I mean, I had to leave behind everything I knew, all of my family, my friends, and with the current situation now in the world, it's unknown whether I'll be able to even ever go back there. So, whilst it does help, it's also a really, really big move. Uh, but on top of that, if you can't get away, like, if you can't move further away from your ex-partner, the more times you can actually get away on small trips away, maybe a week or 2 weeks or even a few days, it's good to do that. And hopefully, if you're still living in close proximity with your ex-partner, you're not trying to stalk them or do drive-bys, because you're only hurting yourself. I did drive-bys. I've done drive-bys in the past, but logically you have to think, well, what's the point? I'm only hurting myself. You drive past their house and you see another car there, or their car's not there. Uh, what are you going to do? What is it going to matter? What difference is that going to make? It's only going to make you feel worse, probably. Or, I drive by, her car's there, there's no one else there. Oh, I feel better, but it doesn't change the situation. And so, whilst it's part of the breaking away from the addiction of that relationship and that person, it's it's better not to do that. Which is also why, in this world of social media, you don't necessarily have to unfriend that person if you aren't at that stage yet, but you can unfollow them so that you don't see their posts and you don't see their pictures and their new life, and that it's only going to make you upset. So the other thing I'd like to say is, when you say, I think of him living happily down the road, you also don't know how happily he is, if that makes sense. I mean, everybody has their own challenges in life, their own difficulties. So I would be, pretty lax to say that he's 100% happy all the time. So that's just a projection. And when you think about it logically, is probably not true. I happen to also know that this person recently found out that her ex-partner has got remarried. So I'll just quickly say that at this time, they're probably in the honeymoon stage. Everything's new, the relationship's new. So they probably are experiencing some happiness, but you know how relationships go. That honeymoon stage is soon going to move into the more real stage. And with the divorce and separation rates in today's world, you don't know. In 2 years, they could have divorced and he's lost everything. Or they could be stuck in a really unhappy relationship. I personally know of couples that are really, really unhappy. They have completely dysfunctional relationships. Yet on Facebook, you would think that they are the most wonderful couple in the world. Whereas, because I know them personally, I know that's not true. So, right now, if he's just been remarried, then possibly there's that honeymoon stage. But time will tell where that one takes it. So now it goes on to say, I beat myself up for the failure of the relationship. That's a very common trait, especially if it's been the other person that's left, because then you are left to deal with rejection. And rejection, it brings up all sorts of different emotions and things from our past that we have to deal with. The person who's left, they get to deal with guilt, okay? The person who's been left, we get to deal with rejection. So, and that is why we start to beat ourselves up about the failure of the relationship. However, there were two people in that relationship, so it can't have been all your fault. And the biggest underlying thing is that he was the one who left. So you were probably willing to stick it out and try to make it work and try to make things right. And he was the one who left. So in that respect, it's not all your fault. And in that actual segment there, it's his fault because he was the one who left. Okay, so don't beat yourself up too much for the failure of the relationship. Failure is also a pretty strong word. I mean, relationships start and relationships end, but it's hard to say whether they were a failure. It's just a part of life, and in a lot of ways, they can be real learning curves, and they can also be very emotionally strengthening. Uh, if I think about it personally, what I went through in the year or two after that divorce has really emotionally strengthened me for what's happening in the world at the moment. I, I think I'm coping better from what I went through before. So failure is a very strong word. The relationship ended, but there's no need to really say it was a failure. So as far as beating yourself up, that's a normal thing, especially being the one who was rejected. It says, do you have any thoughts about what I can do with this, please? Well, I would go back and watch this video again and always remind yourself that these are totally normal thoughts, even after this amount of time, because our brains revert back to that time when things were, you were possibly a lot happier. We look back with rose-colored glasses, and you need to try to get your life into a position now where you are more satisfied with what's going on at the moment. Also, when you say you feel lonely and alone, well, there's actually pros and cons of being alone. I actually really enjoy being uh, by myself, time by myself, and there's pros and cons of that, and it's good to remember that. The other thing is gratefulness. I've long stressed the importance of gratefulness, and every day practicing being grateful for even the littlest of things. So you're not in jail, you're not in hospital, you've got income, you've got somewhere to live, you've got food, and then you break it down even further. I've got my fingers, I've got my toes. Um, every day, remind yourself of the little things that you are grateful for. Uh, you know, Health is very important. If you're someone that suffers from not good health, or if you are in a wheelchair, let's say, it's going to be difficult, but you still have to try to find things that you are still grateful for, like somebody that calls you up every now and again, or the fact you've got internet and a computer, or the fact that there's a random stranger putting videos on YouTube in an effort to try and help people. There's many, many things to be grateful for. So look, I really hope that helps, and don't beat yourself up too much. Like I said, I still think about my ex-wife 3 years down the track, so that's a normal thing. They were part of your life, and they are part of what makes you you now. So just push on. If there's anything else that anyone would like me to talk about, there's plenty of videos on this channel that I think have got a huge resource of information about the psychology part of this. My channel's not really geared towards getting your ex back, because that's a rare thing. And even if they split up with their other partner and come back to you, what I've seen is it's fraught with it's a whole other world of problems and stress and drama that you're probably down the track going to be sorry that it actually even happened. So I like to be a bit more real about it. So anyone else that has found this video, I'm glad that you found it. I hope you find it useful. There's plenty of other videos on my channel. I'll try to put up more videos as we go forward, but in the meantime, please take care of yourself and your health and your heart.
Can I highlight what has happened here? The deeper waters in the depths below, brighter colors that are painted clear, warmer summers than the ones I know. Been a sucker for the kingdom leader, but now the kingdom is the one I roll. The thicker layers from a million fevers that affected all the light that glowed. So grab a hold, grab a hold, grab a hold.